Okay, so I'm going to quickly demonstrate why it's, depending on what you're making, it's not always the best idea to make a high polygon version of it and then bring it down. Sometimes, depending on what it is, it's best to make just a lower polygon version of it. You know, and for something like this where there's not a lot of, you know, incredible details and stuff, and it's just a cup, then you can do that. But if you need to sculpt, you know, high details onto it, then yeah, you need to make a high polygon model. But anyway, I'll just demonstrate what I'm talking about. So if I go to UV sphere, I mean, even that will be good enough for the base of it. So I'm going to go into edit mode 3. Okay. And then we're just going to go ahead and maybe delete these ones. I'm trying to match your concept as closely as possible here. XF. I'm going to go to maybe 2 like this, and then F. Right. Scale it in a little bit like that. Maybe GZ bring it down a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I'm just sort of yeah. So I mean, that's roughly. You can just like apply a shade smooth to that, and already that looks pretty good. And it's only 320 vertices. So that's kind of like game ready. But you know, as you said, you want it to be a bit more detailed than that. So what we would do is we would then go ahead and add a solidify modifier. Bring this in. Even thickness. Let's see, normals, high quality normals, and then we're gonna oops, daisy. Come out of edit mode and then do that again. Where are we? Solidify. Do that. About that thickness. Even thickness. Normals. High quality. Come down to here. Auto smooth. 180. Like that. Go into edge mode. I'm still in, yeah, it's still applied, isn't it? Go into edge mode. And then come around here. I've got a hotkey set for that, so mark sharp. Maybe add a bit of a bevel there. It's not really that important, but you know, add a bit of a bevel to sort of, you know, give it a nice bit of a thingy going on. Now what's going on here is that you can see that these. Let's just undo that bevel for the moment because I want to quickly mark it sharp, and then make sure my snaps are turned on. GZ, move it up to there, and now we'll add our bevel so it looks a bit kind of nicer like that. Okay, and that'd be pretty good for there's a lot of faceting going on. Yeah, that's 672 vertices, which is probably double the amount that we initially had. Q mark sharp. Okay. Right. Come down here as well. I mean, this doesn't really need to be marked sharp. So, what we want to do now is we want to potentially maybe cut it in half. So, I'm going to come in here and we're going to go to 3, cut it in half. XF. 1Z. Yep. J. Same here. J3. XF. Okay. So now, obviously, we want to I'm not really a fan of doing it like this, but yeah, EY, bring it like that. Okay, add a bit of a, we'll do that in a minute. Go 7, okay. Maybe we want to bring this in a little bit. In fact, I kind of like the shape of that, that's kind of nice. Sort of, I want to maybe make this a bit sort of, I mean, the purpose of this is to just demonstrate to you that you don't always have to make the high polygon first. And I think I used to make that mistake as well. I used to think that, you know, everything had to be high poly, but it really doesn't need to be. But I can understand why, you know, especially if you've been following these tutorials that show you how to do these sort of things, then I can kind of understand why you'd do that. It makes sense why you would do that. Let's see. Right. I'm just demonstrating how you don't really need to create the high poly first. I mean, it's not really necessary, to be honest with you. It's not necessary for something like this, and it's up to your it's your judgment. You know, you need to. Yeah, messed up there. Okay, I'll just do that. It's your judgment how you think will be best. Now I don't want to add another loop in there, so what I'll do is I'll just bring it around there like that. So go Control R, and then let's see. Okay, from there to about there to about there. Oops, a daisy. There, there, to there. Enter. Because we don't want this to go down there. We want it to probably go around there. Would be the best option for this. Shoo. But then we got like a quad there, which isn't really ideal. It's just about working out where you want to. I suppose we could actually add a bit of a, if we added a bit of a bevel there, that might make that quad go away a little bit. Yeah. Guess we could do that maybe. Control B, like that. Okay. Come in here now and delete this X just off edge, and then bring that down there. Okay, because the last thing you want to do is go back down there again, because then you're like, if you took this down there, it would distort the smooth shape of it. So G Y yeah, whatever, I'll just grab these. I'll just manually do it. Snap tools in Blender are often a pain in the tush. Don't know why that thinks that's over there, but whatever. I'll just turn off snaps. GY, just move it across to about there. And we need to bring this, I don't know, just topology can be a bit of a pain in the backside when you're trying to work it out. But yeah, we don't want to send it down there. Basically, I mean, this is like just a low, but we're not going to be adding a subdivision surface to it, so we probably can just like G, move it over to like there, which is actually where that's actually where it's supposed to go. Yeah, so basically what we did was we diverted the topology rather than going down there. We added a quad here so it can then sort of yeah, and then what I might also want to do is add another edge here like that. Grab this, grab that, and J. Maybe do that. Deselect this. GG. Moves to daisy. Turn off snaps. Okay. GG. Push this back a bit to about there, like that. Okay. So currently sitting at 452 vertices, which actually isn't too bad. That's going to double though to probably about 1,600. But as I said, you don't probably need all these here, and you can probably get rid of some of these ones down here. But even that's probably better than nothing. Going to go into this view now. We've got to mirror the surface before we can actually apply a Boolean modifier, even though I'm not really a fan of Boolean modifiers, but mirror and apply. That's 1,600 triangles. Okay, right click, merge vertices by distance. Probably got a bit of weirdness that, oh, that's strange. I don't know why it's done that. Blender just seems to add its own little things now and then, doesn't it? It's a bit of a quirky thing, is Blender. Bit of a quirky thing. Is this? They're actually doing it together. Okay, we actually got this on, we have as well, so forget smooth. I mean, this is a bit quirky. These make sure these things are actually Z. Scale. I mean, is that because there's something in there? It's like a. Why is there a? Is that a face in there? It is. Why is there a face in there? That's weird. That shouldn't be happening. There wasn't a face on it that did that, was there? And Blender's been like, oh yeah, sorry mate, you've had your limits of undos. Not to worry, number one. You're in good hands. Strange. Oh, it's probably because I... Alright. There we go. Now let's mirror it over, shall we? Come over here. Clear sharp. Okay, and we're going to mirror it over. And then what you can do once you've done this is you can just come back in and you can just say, okay, which edges do I really not need? Apply that, because with this I would try and get it down to about maybe 900 if possible. But it all depends on the sort of games engine that you're working with, to be honest with you. But now comes the fun part of using a Boolean, because we're not really going to be using a... Let's just actually go ahead and pull these out a bit more. G, Y. Okay, I mean, yeah. Right, let's go ahead and use a Boolean mesh cylinder. Don't really want this to be too many sides, so let's make it about 12. Let's have a look at how many sides we can get away with. Maybe 16, maybe? I'd say 16 is the most I would go with. I wouldn't go with any more than 16. As I said, it's all about what you think you can get away with. It's about trial and error and scale it down. GY. Make one a bit smaller. Separate it. Boom. G. Make one a bit smaller. Another bit of a tip is I always suggest that you scale things in edit mode and not normal mode, because then you're having to sort of reapply the blooming, vertices and the scale and location and transforms and stuff. Scale X like that. I just said I wasn't going to do that, didn't I? Fool. A scale X like that. And then it's pretty much going to be a case of Boolean, using a Boolean on this and then fixing any issues that we have. Of course, with this, we're going to want to smooth it, because if we don't, then we're going to get facets in there. We don't want faceting in there, so I'm going to shade smooth it and 180 degrees. My mistake. Okay, 2, boom, 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 Q, mark, sharp. Okay, I'm going to call this, just mug, and then call this F2 Boolean. Okay, I'm going to use modifier and Boolean, pick cylinders. As you can see, we've got a couple of problems there, but they're sort of it's about going in and fixing them, which isn't really that much of a problem with something that's this low poly. Let's go ahead and hide this. As you can see, got a couple of problems there, but oh, never mind. I'm going to apply this now. Okay, so let's have a look what we can do. Okay, so we're just going to redivert some of these edges. Okay, so first of all, we want to keep these cylindrical edges. So if anything, we're going to redivert these edges here. So make sure your snaps are on. G, redivert that one. Let's see. G, redivert that one. From here, I would join these up like that. Let's see what else we can do. This I would bring down here. Scale X, scale X 0. Where's the daisies? Scale Y 0. Scale Y 0. Blender. Don't be a fusspot. GY. Blender's so fussy at times. To there. We can probably do this. J. J. And this is pretty much what you do, really. I mean, obviously after you would come around and add a what's it called, a sharp. Let's do that now, actually, because otherwise it's just going to be very frustrating. No. Okay, boom, deselect that, deselect that. And then make sharp, like that. We're still going to fix these points, obviously. But I'm just trying to demonstrate to you that you don't always necessarily need to create the high polygon first. Sometimes it's just not necessary, depending on what you're trying to make. If it's something extremely detailed, then yes. If you're going to be sculpting on it, then yes, high polygon to, and then retopologizing is the way to go. But for this sort of thing, it's not really necessary. So now what we've got to do is we've got to, oh, this one as well. Okay. I know that you probably spent a lot of time making that model. I'm not sure exactly how much time you spent on it, but I'm not trying to undermine your work or anything like that. I'm just trying to show you that there is always, oops, daisy. There's always other ways of doing things. If you're struggling, there are always other ways of doing things. In this case, it was to use a Boolean modifier and then go back in and then what I could probably do is actually just fix this side first as best I can, and then, well, I'm going to fix it. There's no as best I can about it. I'm going to fix it and then just mirror it over. Let's see. And yes, the thing about it is, you might think, oh well, that's a bit, why is he, this is going to take too long, just doing all this stuff. But if you think about it, it'll take you just as long, maybe longer, to retopologize it. So, going around and fixing things, remember, just concentrate on these major lines. You don't want to move these major lines, just move the ones around it. So like this one, I can just grab it and snap it to that. And I like to, with things like this, triangles aren't such a bad thing. And a lot of people might say triangles are terrible and should never use triangles, but for things, for low polygon stuff like this, it's not really a bad thing, because make sure everything else is looking good. Okay, I should add a bit of an edge loop in there just to scale. Y0, and then GY, move this across to there. Okay. Now, some weird sort of stuff going on, but let's just go ahead and add a bit of a, see what happens if we add a sharp in here to really sort of define this area. I should fix it. It's not always going to, but I'm going to go to 1 and then A, right click, merge vertices, just make sure that there's no vertices just laying around. That often fixes things. Another thing that you can do if you're struggling with that sort of thing is just go into edge mode and then come up here to, where's it gone? Select view, is it view? Edge. Oh, it's gone here somewhere. Duplicate normal shading weight soft. No, it's show hide. Clean up. Where's it gone? There's something here called non-manifold. Somewhere here. I've got it as like a shortcut, and I can just press Q and then non-manifold, and that'll show you if you have any open edges, which I don't at the moment, so that's good. Maybe come up here and sharpen this as well. All depends on what you want to do, to be honest with you. All depends what you want to do. How long has this been going? 24 minutes. Wow. Mark sharp. Okay. Come out of that mode again. And that's actually a lot better, isn't it? That's going to be a lot better. And how many vertices is this? This is like 923 vertices. And already you've as I said, I wasn't trying to undermine the way that you did things. I'm just trying to demonstrate that you don't always have to model high poly to low poly. So I'm going to go into top view. 3 Alt Z, and I'm sorry if this means that you got to start your model again, but maybe you don't have to. I don't know. Deselect these ones. Make sure only this side is selected. Oh, I'm going to have to actually add a edge loop in here, aren't I? Just to... That means there's something going on there, because that should be looping all the way around. But it's not for some reason. So that means that I've got something missing there. That's okay though. We'll figure it out. I actually don't know what it is. It's because I've got this side over here that's causing it. Because this side isn't fixed, so the reason it wouldn't go all the way around because it's because there wasn't quads because of the other side. But just do it manually like this, and then Daisy. Then make sure everything's done. Go into the top view. Now we can probably just delete half of it like that. Make sure everything's good to go. And do. Next face. Come back in here, and then mirror it over. Apply the mirror modifier, and that's 947 vertices. And you know, you can just look at it and you can say, okay, what can I do to make this less? Okay, I can come in here and I can go ahead and delete this. I don't need this anymore. I can go ahead and delete that. Go over here. Dissolve edges. It's just about going around and seeing what you can do to. That's a bit messy down there. Probably just bring it out a bit. GY, nudge it out a little bit like that. And what can I do to make it less vertices? But probably go ahead and so can I do that maybe? Yeah, I can go ahead and delete this one as well. That's not really needed anymore. X dissolve edges. Probably not even going to see that down there. So X dissolve edges. No one's even going to see that. And to be honest with you, some of these interior ones, what I would do is I'd delete every other one, because you're not even going to look inside the cup. So I'll just like delete every other one of these, because you're not even going to really see inside it, you know. So now we're down to 755 vertices. Okay. And I know it takes a long time to try and come in and repair all these, you know, the Boolean, but it probably takes less time to do this on this sort of model than it does to retopologize it. So yeah, I hope that helped you. Probably even come in here and, I mean, it's just my personal preference, but I'd probably not even need this. Dissolve edges, and that should bring us down to 723 vertices, which is pretty good. You could probably, as I said, maybe you could probably make this with maybe 14, but from a distance, that's roughly what you're looking for, I believe. You know, this is roughly what you're looking for. Go away, edit mode. I think this is pretty much what you're looking for, isn't it? This sort of shape, and that's how you would make that sort of thing from scratch, you know, just like a low poly. But as I said, if you wanted to sculpt a load of details onto it, then you would need to make a high poly. But for something like this, it's really not necessary. And you could probably get away with, as I said, you know, if I did like, if I just move this and I do a side-by-side comparison, C cylinder, and I bring this down to maybe even 14 14 sides, even that might be good enough, you know. Even if I brought it down to like 14, even that might be good enough, you know. Scale it in like that. Daisy, behave, Blender. 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 Oh, you're such a mischievous little bugger. Then let's do this one instead. Scale. And bomb. 3. Easy. Bring it in like that. So easy. Easy. Scale it in as well. I mean, if you just look at this, I mean, this is the same sort of thing. We go to come out of this mode, shade smooth, come back in here to, it's all about using your judgment and deciding what can I get away with, what can I get away with this sort of thing. As you can see, even 14 would be good for this. Even 14, I wouldn't go lower than 14. Maybe 15. I'd say 16 would be the highest I'd go. 14 would probably be the lowest. You have to go with the. There's a saying in 3D modeling for games. You know, go with the good enough equation. If it looks good enough, low poly, just go with that. Just go with the good enough. You know, sometimes less is better. Well, I hope that helped you, and I hope that you kind of understand a bit more now. And you know, just remember that you don't always have to make a high poly to you know, to do this sort of thing. It's up to you. You need to decide what you're going to do with it. Is it going to be highly detailed with lots of little, you know, intricate, you know, sculpting and stuff, or is it just going to be like a cup like this? If it's just going to be a cup like this, you can definitely make it without doing the high poly. You can just make it like this, as I just demonstrated. So I hope that helped you, and thanks for watching, and good luck with your project as well.